there's got to be a point in all of our lives when something happens and we become a seeker.
Welcome to the Seekers of the Eternal podcast. Once again, Chris, welcome this morning to another beautiful day here in Toronto. There's snow outside. I don't know what's outside your window.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm in Florida, so definitely no snow. It's a nice day though today. We're in the 60s, which is really
Oh, very
amazing for
nice.
us.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, for
and
me, it's cold outside, but the beauty on that first snowfall where everything's so, crystal clear and it's white and, the sun bounces off of it in the morning. Even at nighttime when the moonlight hits it, it really lights up your room in a magical way.
that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't get any of that around here. But
Visit
having
visit
that
us
nice
anytime
little,
in
yeah, well.
winter.
Well, welcome everyone back to the Seekers of the Eternal podcast. We're looking forward to this one. So many things that we get to practice with in real time and then
Yeah.
share kind of what we're doing and looking to all of the great teachers and ancient stories and myths to help guide us and to show us the way. These things are here and we're putting them into practice for our digital collection, our community that we're building in the wake of all of the things that have been happening to deter us on our mission.
Yeah.
Worldwide, everybody that is interested in getting into this space, I'm sure everyone is. Most people have probably heard about the news. I don't know if you want to share a little bit of that. We might as well dive
Yeah.
into it a little bit
100%.
since it's current news.
Kind of set the stage a little bit. I mean, it's a scary time for a lot of people, of course, and hard times. First and foremost, like the potential, the ongoing war that's happening over in Europe right now, and I heard on the news a few days ago where missiles landed in Poland, and I think there's now information coming out that it wasn't necessarily an attack from, Russia. It was something around the Ukraine. Nevertheless, whatever the details, it's very scary, and people still lost their lives. And I can't imagine what it would feel like living in those areas where bombs are literally falling out of the sky, and that impacts everybody there, but it impacts everybody worldwide. We're all a little bit worried about our safety. Everything's kind of happening right now in the economy with rising inflation and interest rates around the world, and job loss is at an all-time high as well. And then in the crypto space where we exist in Web3, over the last week or so, we've seen these really big exchanges seem to be conducting themselves nefariously. And we've seen some fraud in the collapse of FTX and the fallout amongst other exchanges, where people in these exchanges who are running them are over leveraged and using investors' money in a way that compromised the security. And unfortunately, in the collapse, there's been a lot of people who have lost their fortunes, their livelihoods. They've invested a lot into this space because they believed in it or believed in the company or the leadership. And unfortunately, some really bright, smart people as well, put their trust in some of these spaces, and they lost it all. And so there's a ripple effect, and there's a fallout, and there's this current that pushes against us in every facet to kind of make you feel like, is it all worth it? Do you maybe I should just give up and try something else? That plagues us in almost every aspect of our life. But this is an important podcast because these are the dragons that we were kind of touching on in the last podcast that we all face. And for us as a team at Seekers of the Eternal, we too looked in the mirror and really thought about, like, is this it? We've invested our heart and soul getting to this stage in this project, and you've poured every ounce of your being into every single one of these art pieces, these digital art pieces of Hanuman and the Genesis Pass, and you've come so far, and we've built this great community, and we've invested over a year of our time and our resources into this, and we still came to that point where, like, are we doing the right thing, and is it time to give up? And I think as a team, it's an emphatic no. We've come so far. We can't give up now. This is our journey, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. It's in these stories, like in the story of Hanuman and the Ramayana, there's so many times when the monkey army comes to that same conclusion. It's like, we've tried everything, we've looked everywhere, we can't find Sita. Where is she? And going through all of these trials and tribulations, and making you, there's so often in the story where the other monkeys in the monkey army, we should just kill ourselves, we should just end it, we should just we can't go back empty handed, and always Hanuman is always returning them back to calmness, to remembering that we are on this mission from Rama to save Sita. We can't fail. When we're doing our mission and we're following our heart, we're doing the thing that we believe we're meant to be doing, and we're doing our best to not cut corners and to do things in the right way, then we don't have to be afraid of what all the things that are happening around the world, because we're doing what we're meant to be doing in that time period. And the crazier that it looks outside, the crazier that it gets, it just should be fuel for our fire. And we're really approaching, it's so fun. At the same time, it can be so fun. I mean, not making light of a lot of the challenges, and of course a lot of the things through wars and people losing, obviously, that's heartbreaking. But for us personally, I think it is our mission not to let ourselves become paralyzed by bad news. We should have empathy for others, but we shouldn't let it destroy us and take us off of our game. And so I think this is really a fun place to be. We're on the cusp of these new technologies that are getting tested, and they're being nefarious. People are using them for greed and trying to game the system. And we're seeing really quickly how those things are becoming revealed and brought out into the light. And with the collapse of cryptocurrency prices, all of this, it should say, like, there's not anybody right now, I think, getting into this game that's looking for a money grab. I mean, maybe there are, but you got to be stupid. You have to now create something that people genuinely want to be a part of. That's creative, that's energetic, that has a high vibration, that other people are becoming attracted to and wanting to be a part of. So that's what we're creating here, and I think it's really exciting for me as an artist. If there's any dark forest wilderness place as an artist that you can venture out into right now, I think it would be Web3 community. So
you're absolutely right. I think, in that process as well, it's one thing to find the courage and to continue forward. I think the other thing is this cleansing process, as painful as it is, like, a lot of people in investing call it max pain. That's where the opportunity actually lies, right? If you went back to Warren Buffett, the most famous quote, the quote that he's most famous for is, be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. It is what it is, but you can extrapolate from that. And I think it's, usually it's in that darkness, like only when it gets dark enough can you see the stars. I think I like that quote maybe a little bit better than Warren Buffett's, but I think that people in this space are now, they're more cautious, they're more critical. They're going to look to see who those leaders are, what the project's about, whether or not, they can safely invest. And I think that there needs to be light. And we have this opportunity. We can all be a light in the darkness for other people who still believe in this technology, who still believe in this space. They're going to count on people like us who have risked it all. And in the moment of truth, we still, proceed forward. And I think that's what we want to be. We want people to know that we're not going anywhere. This project isn't going anywhere. We are going to build an incredible community. We are going to provide the beautiful artwork, digital, and in real life. We have an incredible Seekers of the Eternal House. We will be doing the IRL events and virtual events and meditations. We are in this with all of our being. And if there are people right now just, very cautious and questioning everything, you should be. but we welcome them to come to a project like Seekers of the Eternal to see what we're trying to build here and to be part of something special and question it all the way through. We welcome it.
Yeah, I agree. And if as you're thinking about wanting to get into certain things, I mean, there's so many things that you could invest your time in and your money in. So many cool things out there to get interested in. And there's this limited time. So you're always wanting to like, we want to pick something that really has value for you as a person on your own journey and your own mission. So we're making sure that we're going to be, through these conversations and all of the things that we have planned is to make it well worth your time and to build an environment, because environment, the people that you surround yourself with is so important. So we're really building this environment in this space where you can be around high-minded, high-frequency people who are looking to overcome their dragons and to become the best versions of themselves. And that's really what we're all about, and what we're building. Myself as an artist, in the same way, like I'm not going anywhere. This is what I'm doing. And I'm interested in bringing, illuminating this space for people who maybe thought they had no interest in it, and now definitely, since they're seeing all this news, really have no interest in it. I want to actually like inspire you to think about this, because the game has changed. It's no longer, like you were saying in that quote, it's no longer this time where it's just greedy people trying to flip things and make a quick buck, and this snake pit that it once was. It's now changed. It's a different place. It's it's like we're creating, whoever's creating worlds now in this space are inviting you to join a community. Like the NFTs now are memberships. They're memberships that you could sell later, that could grow in value, but you can also support projects and things that you want to exist. If you like an artist's work and they're building a Web3 community and you want to see what they could do if they weren't worried about finances, you can support by buying these tokens and then see what happens. If you're interested in seeing what I can do when I'm not limited by client objectives, I would have to spend most of my time making client work for advertising for brands, and then I would spend my nights and weekends making my own stuff. What would it look like if I could always do my own work? What kind of paintings could we make if I had money to? Because a lot of times, like I can't always do paintings that I want to make, because you don't really make a lot of money on paintings. You get them in galleries, the gallery gets half. You may or may not sell it. What if we didn't have to worry about any of that? We just kept making paintings. Like we could make really incredible work, do more traveling and painting murals, making more interactive, multi-sensory experiences, doing real life events, putting together things. So that's what you're investing in. So who gives a shit if your token that you paid not much money for grows or doesn't? That's a great boon if it does, like you can sell it, but really you're getting a membership, like a Patreon, to something that you really dig and you're supporting. Like a thing that I really love. So we're doing a little bit of joining forces with another Web3 project. We're allocating a portion of the funds that we make from the collection to be able to donate to charitable organizations. And there's one that we really love that it's called Maya Spirits. And what they're doing is so illuminating for me. It makes me go like, this is the future. Fuck everything that's happening. Like, this is the future. So what they're doing, and I recommend checking it out, is they're moving from their usual model that they have been doing for many years, charitable donations and fundraising and doing really great work in the jungle of Mexico. It's called Calakmul in South Mexico, and they're doing really incredible things there. They're 70% of the profits that are collected from the NFT collections that they're generating goes directly towards mother and children of Calakmul. and they're teaching them how to cultivate this local honey there that's very expensive, and the profits go back into the community. And they're working with women because they know in the past, when the money goes to the males, it has the potential that it could be spent on drugs and alcohol and not make it back into the community. So they're also teaching them how to spend that money and how to invest that money and how to make it grow and expand. And this, like, projects like that is like, this is so great. I see it as the future of, like, okay, when all our, this move into the future a little bit, when all our money is energy money. We get money from we get energy money from visiting websites that, like, send you money back for just being on their site, and you send your energy money to things that you want to support. So you see something like this, you're like, oh, I'll buy one of their tokens, I want to send money
Right.
to that. And then you're part of a community, and then you see another project and you get one of those. And we're all just voting for stuff that we want to exist. It
That's
no
right.
longer matters if you're Republican, you're Democrat. I think it brings us together, where you see a project like we're doing. We're inspiring people to become the best versions of themselves, to meditate. We're encouraging each other to eat better and to have better relationships with our families, and create beautiful artwork and study ancient masters and ancient scriptures and learn from them. So if you like this project, throw some energy this way.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's, there's a ton of different projects and a whole bunch of different ethoses. And, some people have good intentions and some not. And so I think, none of this is financial advice. I think what we want you to do is just know that there are some really wonderful projects out there that have incredible causes that are not a cash grab. And so really look into it. Look to see who the leaders are, look to see where the money is going, how the money is getting there. And then what the results will be from that energy that you're investing, or the time that you're investing. Like you can make an informed decision by looking into projects and looking into the people associated with it. I think the one piece of advice is, if someone's not willing to attach their name to a project, or do they call it docs, like to dox themselves and then let you know who they are, and where they're from, then you may want to skip that one. I think that you should want to sign up for projects where people are willing to put themselves and their reputations and who they are on the line. That's when you know that it means something. I always think about, like, when I used to invest in, like, stocks in a company, the P&L there is very important, but I also want to know who the team is and whether or not the owners are still part of that company, or whether or not there's just shareholders there. Companies that have only shareholders want to make sure their shareholders are happy. But if there's an owner of a company who has been there from the start and is still invested in that company, that's their baby. They're not going to let it fail. So I would do that type of investigation and research before I would invest anything. And I think the same thing still applies. Like, the same logic still applies. But I feel like now is the time to make informed decisions. Maybe when this space first started, you could just, your friend can pick up the phone, call you up and say, hey, you should, go buy 5 of these NFTs. They're going to explode. And there was a time where, it was probably right. I don't think that time exists anymore. And if they do, it's few and far between. I think now is a time for an informed, educated individual who believes in something more than just the, financial return that's going to get the kind of return that they're looking for. And, that's why we talk to projects like Maya Spirits, or like On-Chain Monkey, or, other people in the space who have a similar ethos as what we have. So yeah, we are at that point right now, Chris, in this project, where we're obviously about to go to Miami. We're putting our money where our mouth is, so to speak, because we are closing out the year at a really difficult time in crypto. And you and I both were asked to be speakers at the Women of Web3 conference in Miami on November 29th to December 2nd or 3rd, I believe. And we're really excited about it, but it is another really great investment on our part to get out there. Me and the team, of course, being here in Toronto, and another one in Arizona. But we're committed. We want to come out there. We want to meet people, look people in the eye. We want to talk about our project. We want to learn about them as well and what they're up to. And hopefully we find other people in the crypto space that have that, like mind, and we can support one another and make something really special happen.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This will be my first conference in this space. I know you guys have been to a few now, and then seeing even in just this short time in between the different conferences, the different energy. You know, when you went to the first one, it was just after, you know, it started to make a downward turn and a lot of people were selling their tickets, and then you guys got in there, but it was still kind of a high vibration going on around the space, excitement and people in it looking, you know, to whatever. But at this space, you know, at this period in time, I'm excited to be around the people who are all kind of in the trenches the way that we are, that are going for it. And you have to just really believe in what you're doing, and know that you're making a good product, or else you're not going to be around for very long. If
Not
you're
at
not
all.
if you're not enjoying what you're doing and you don't feel like it is benefiting the world, you're not going to go through the pain that it takes to pull something like this off.
That's exactly right.
You know, and that's what, when we first started talking about that, I knew that if I was going to get involved in this, I had to be able to put my whole self into it. So I didn't want to start a separate thing, you know, with a separate name, and then, okay, I'm going to still be doing my other stuff on the side, and then I'll be, you know, I'll be doing this project and kind of dipping my toe in it. I knew that it had to be all or nothing.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at with it, and I couldn't be happier with what we're doing. And I mean, we're all obviously financially, this isn't making us any money for a long time, you know, but right now it's like you're having to trust the universe for those funds to show up. And so far we're all still floating, and we're excited to make this work. And it's so great too, because where things have led us with this podcast and with the ethos, and thinking about how to frame our overall message to the community, it really is coming through as this hero's journey, facing dragons, overcoming demons. So yeah, I'd like to kind of get into kind of the talk here today, which is really going to be based around that, on this hero's journey. We know that we're going to face dragons. We can have an initial spark of inspiration, of getting some feeling inside us that we have something to share with the world. And I believe that we all have something great that we're meant to share with the world, but we don't all find it in the lifetime. Maybe try again next lifetime, you know. But there is something hidden within you that the world would benefit from if you were able to get past your fears, to find courage, to find perseverance. And if you knew that you were doing what you were meant to be doing, if this was your soul's calling, then you would do it at all costs. And that's what we're talking about here. I wanted to open up. I've been listening to this song a bit on repeat lately. It's kind of a obscure musician. He only has like a handful of singles that are on Spotify, named Zin Onyx. My brother shared this song with me, but the lyrics, I'm just going to read the lyrics. It's very poetic here. He says, "I've been waiting all my life for this feeling to ignite. I've been waiting it's been waiting in my heart. Now I see it shine through dark. These melodies and higher truths keep opening me up to you. I hope you feel my pure desire. I hope you know that you're my fire. So let these feelings illuminate our dreams, put them into words and give them wings. The world needs your gifts to help it heal. Know your doubts are anything but real. Speak your thoughts into reality. Live as that which you would like to see. We're calling on the ones who know the truth. The future is what we make it. We must choose."
It's beautiful.
It
would have been nice to play it. You don't happen to have it there, do you?
Maybe we'll put it on the end of this podcast or something. Because it's beautiful, and I've been putting it in my own interpretation. Who knows what the artist's intention? It seems like maybe it's going this way, but a lot of times, like I'll listen to songs that sort of immediately sound like love songs to like a person, and think about it in another way, I don't think he was intending it that to be that way. I think this poetry is about is when he says, these melodies and higher truths keep opening me up to you. I think opening me up to you, my true self, my higher self, that part of me that is wanting to come out, that part of me that feels like inspiration, that part of me that feels like creative energy. So these feelings, when they arise, so let these feelings illuminate our dreams, put them into words and give them wings. So say with this podcast, I'll have inspirations, talk about them on the air and with you, and then we put them into action. So you can, Joseph Campbell talks about how so many times we have these dreams, these great dreams, but we leave them down there. We never pull them out and then manifest them into reality. So I'm always really wanting to make it, I feel like as an artist that this is our job. We're supposed to go down into these realms. We're supposed to cultivate these high frequency vibrations and feelings and passions. And then we're really supposed to, this line here where it says, the world needs your gifts to help it heal. Know that your doubts are anything but real. That part of it really strikes me. The world needs what you have. So speaking to everyone listening here, you have something that the world needs to help it heal, to make it a better place. And it is your duty in this lifetime to figure it out. And you're not going to be truly happy until you do that.
Yeah. And I think I was at just to give some context for a real experience, I was at a fundraiser last night for a charity called Flex for Access. And the charity, what it does is it raises funds to support people who have physical disabilities. And it might be a physical disability that they were born with, or maybe something that, transpired during their lifetime through an accident or injury. But it's the lady that runs, the executive director of Flex for Access. She has CP. She's in a wheelchair, and her childhood was rough. They've told her parents if she survives, she'll have limited communication skills, and if that's the case, then her development will be slower than everyone else's, and probably wouldn't be so much of an academic. And fast forward now, she has her master's. She has written 2 books. She runs an incredible foundation called Flex for Access. She is a powerhouse, like an advocate for anyone with physical disabilities. And her fundraiser was all about it was exactly that. It's finding a way to bring your light to the world in the way that you can do it. And we had a lot of wonderful speakers last night. I kept reading everyone's bio and feeling more and more terrible about myself. Like, man, I'm not doing enough with this, with my life, when I hear all these accomplishments that these individuals have had. And there was a gentleman that came up named I don't want to get his name wrong, I think, but he was a Paralympian, and he had won a gold medal in the Paralympics, and he holds world records. And he shares this beautiful story. He actually lost both of his hands in an accident when he was, I think, 10 years old. But his parents never felt sorry for him. They just, he couldn't hold a hockey stick, so his dad built him the kind of hockey stick where he could get by and still play. He's like, my dad had that old farm mentality. You're still going to get your skates on. You're still going to get out there. He's like, Dad, how am I supposed to tie my laces? How am I supposed to hold a stick? Parents like, well, that will figure it out. Point is, you're still doing it. And having that mentality is so uplifting from people that love you and support you. He's went through his entire life, and he ended up having this tremendous success and bringing light to the world and be an inspiration for other people. But he tells this beautiful little anecdote. And I think you and I probably, talked about this before. We've talked about so many, but I think it's worth mentioning again. He said, there's this old parable where this kid, he's out on a beach and he keeps throwing starfish. All these starfish have have beached themselves, and he keeps picking up the starfish and throwing them back in the ocean. And there's this old man who's a little bit jaded, and he walks over to the kid by life, and he walks over to the kid and says, "Listen, kid," he's like, don't waste your time. There's too many of them. You can't save all of them. And the kid, like completely unaffected by this man, he just picks one starfish up by his foot and he throws it as hard as he can back into the ocean. He's like, "I saved that one." And he picks up another one. He throws that one back. And he's like, "I saved that one." And the moral of the story is it doesn't have to be some grandiose, I've saved everybody. I made a difference that everyone's aware of. Everybody on the planet knows. It's not about that. Save one starfish, save one life, and it could all be worth it. But if you think that you don't have anything to offer, well, then it's over before it even begins. And, there's nothing worse than that. It's nothing worse than giving up before you even start the race. How do you know? How do you know so far if you haven't tried?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I love that. That sounds like a great company to be around for inspiration, to be around
Phenomenal.
people like that.
Just phenomenal. And I think that was one of the messages that Jess Silver said, like after she got a chance to get up and read her story. And, she said there's so many times in life where she felt like giving up, whether it was being bullied as a child or having someone tip her wheelchair over or spin it around. She grew up at a time where, a lot of these things were not necessary, not that they were acceptable, but they weren't as I guess there were with the supervision around these things just wasn't the way that it is today. And she grew up at a really, really tough time. And she says, there was many times where I just felt like I just want to give up and walk away. She says, but there's something inside of her that told her to keep pushing. And if she gives up now, she's only going backwards. There's no staying where she is, right? You're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. And your parents never stopped her. And she said she learned so much in that process to get to where she is today. And she has like a lion heart. She is relentless. The first time I met her, you could just see, when you look in someone's eyes and you can see someone like that's passionate and determined, and they are going to be heard. Whether or not you agree with them or not is not important to them. They just want to be heard. I remember meeting her and thinking to myself, like, whatever she's selling, I'm buying. And I'm not going to have a choice here. And she's an incredible inspiration. But everybody in that room last night was an inspiration, because there's so many times in life where we feel like our situation's the worst. Nobody knows what I'm going through. And then you get around someone who has a disability or has gone through a level of neglect or abuse or challenge that would you wouldn't switch your worst day or your best day or your worst day for one day of theirs, because it's really in a completely different plane. And it's always important to keep perspective and realize that other people are going through so many things that are much harder than what you're going through in the moment. And it doesn't make light of your situation, but it should give you the determination that if someone else can make it through, then so can you.
And the character that builds when you overcome these hard times and challenges, that you take the power of that. Another thing that may sound like a mystical idea to some of those listening, you probably didn't make it this far if you're not up for mystical ideas by this point, but I think this is just the way it is, that your consciousness comes into being in this life, in this story, in this body, because it is the ideal situation, the ideal body, the ideal circumstances for you to become the best version that your soul could become now in this timeline. All of the factors that you see as challenges or as things that are getting in the way of your dreams are actually there to empower you, to make you into someone who is far beyond what others could do. It's specifically this body, this life, this circumstance is made for you to become the best version that you've ever been, in any incarnation. So I think if we can remember to look at things that way, and if the people that you were speaking with, if they could look back and talk to their old selves, the qualities that they now possess, the character that they now have, the things that they know, and the things that they've been through that have given them strength, you couldn't buy that. You couldn't trade that for the world.
True.
So I like to look at it in that way. Know that there's not a better life than the one that you have.
Yeah.
Nobody possesses abilities and skills that you couldn't have if you put in the work. So just keeping that in mind as we're on this journey together. You weren't cursed. You were actually blessed with whatever it is that you hate
Yeah.
about your life.
And the thing, just to add to that, Chris, is when you do that, when you trust that process, and you're, whether or not it's challenging or not, but you accept it and you're like, I'm just going to push forward anyways, there is so many people around you and even not around you that are waiting for you to do it and want to support your efforts and can't wait to put you on their shoulders and carry you a portion of the way. Like, there was a moment last night where, I was the MC, so I'm speaking, and I was just sharing with the crowd a couple of stories that, why I was so inspired by Jess, and as a father, what I aspire to be, and what I aspire to be as a father and as an individual, and the example I'm trying to set for my children. And it's how, I got into the fact that I was an author and I write children's books. And um, I can't tell you by the end of the night how many people came up to me. They're like, yeah, so like, it's incredible that you're an author and that you're trying to do these things for your daughter. And, I am sure, and this isn't false modesty, or I know for a fact I am nowhere close to being a fantastic children's author or the best children's author, but I'm a children's author that I'm an author of children's book that tries his best, and people appreciate that. And there's an amount of people that came up to me yesterday and said, like, can I get your website, or when is your next book coming out, or please stay in touch with me because I want to order. I want to, like, they didn't need to do that. And I didn't even have my books on me. I didn't talk about them at all, but they liked the idea of supporting someone who is trying to be the best version of themselves, for themselves and for their kids. And I think that my message in this space is, when you find the courage to fight your dragons and slay your dragons, there is a crowd of people cheering you on, whether you can hear them or not. And sometimes you just have to wait till you get to the arena. And once you get there, you're going to hear them chant your name.
Mhm. I love that. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And they looked into your eyes and saw the same thing and said, whatever he's selling, I'm buying.
That's right.
Real, recognize real.
Yeah.
When in that space, we're all facing our fears and our demons. This is just based on that. There's a pasted a quote from Stephen Pressfield here. He said, "Are you a born writer? Were you put on this earth to be a painter, a scientist, an apostle of peace? In the end, the question can only be answered by action. Do it or don't do it."
Do it or don't do it. Yeah. I had a situation when I was I used to work at a day camp, and there was a counselor that had all the potential in the world. He was so good, but he kept making really bad choices and bad decisions, and he wasn't taking his job seriously. But he always would, apologize. I'll do, but just words. And the owner of the camp, I'll never forget that. He says to this guy, he says, listen, says, your actions speak so loud, I can't hear what you're saying. And I thought, wow, what a great way to, I've never heard anyone say that, but that's life, right? Your actions speak so loud that I cannot hear what you're saying. So don't tell people what you're going to do. Show them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you feel that inside of you, do it. But what keeps us from doing it? What keeps us from running after our dreams and going for it? And that always comes down to fear. We have a fear of failure. We have a fear that people won't like what we made. We have a fear that it will be people will make fun of us. Everything on, there's so much danger involved with putting yourself out there these days.
Yeah.
We see so many people being, canceled or bashed, or whatever is happening, trolls online giving people a hard time.
Yeah.
And that's just the sort of the nature of the game, I guess.
And I
But
mean,
we have
additionally,
those.
it's like that fear to even succeed too, right? Because there's lots of
Yeah.
expectations that you may have now of yourself and that others may have of you. And so even sometimes people have that fear of success. But you're called
Yeah.
to do more. We're all called to do more.
Yeah. That fear of success is real. That's a huge one. And at the same time, I think we've talked about it before. At the same time, when we have this life wish, when we have this wish to do great things, to become a great version of ourselves, there's always that equal and opposite pull
Yeah.
of that dragon, that demon, that all those inner voices that are just remember every time, this is another Stephen Pressfield quotes. He says, uh, resistance will tell you anything to keep you from doing your work. If you take resistance at its word, you deserve everything you get. Resistance is always lying and always full of shit. And
Love
so we
that.
have this resistance that comes up so hard when we're okay. I feel like I'm supposed to be a poet or writer. I want to go do it. And those inner voices, that mind chatter, that fear, that is the dragon, that is the demon doing anything and anything to keep you from your work. It
Mm,
could come to you the most slimy and perfect way that the dragon it's can easily play on. It can easily use sex, it can easily use greed, it can easily use intoxication to
yeah.
take you out.
Yeah.
Those are the first three that will keep you from doing your work.
Yes.
And and we should see that for what it is. Do you really want to go after your dreams and accomplish your dreams, or did you get sidetracked and you looked at porn all night or
Right.
whatever? Did you want to go after what you really feel like is your calling, but then you just got drunk and now you're hungover and now you don't
Mm,
have any energy for that? Did you really want to do a great thing with your career, with your creative work? Did you really want to write this thing that would last and would be meaningful for people? Or did you take the hack way out and make something that's a flash in the pan for a money grab because you
mm,
fell for the demon of greed? Those things so easily, those are the simplest tricks that the dragon
yeah.
uses.
Yeah. They're so easy. Like those temptations, my goodness, can it slow you down? And I think part of it comes couched in this thought that there's always tomorrow. I can do this now for the next hour. If it turns out to be 6 hours of me doing, all these things I'm tempted to do, I have time tomorrow. I could do it tomorrow. But you end up building like you almost you get away with it. So you're like, I can get away with this again tomorrow. Like, look at this. I still had a full day ahead of me. I could have done it again. I might as well go ahead and be tempted again. And before you know it, you get so far down the road that you turn around, you don't realize how much time you've actually lost. And that's the one thing, the only thing, if you think about it, that's not in abundance. Everything else in this world and in this existence, there's an abundance of money. There's an abundance of, you know, material things, even love. You can feel like you have an abundance of love. You'll never get more time. So to lose it, it's to me, it's mind boggling. It's we spend all of our time chasing after, you know, wealth and material goods and all these other kinds of things, the things that's abundant of. We give our time so freely. And so we give our time for the infinite. And while time is finite and limited, it's such a paradox.
Yeah, time is such a dragon for me,
Yeah.
because at the same time I know that I have infinite time. That is actually the one thing I have an infinite supply of time. It will never end. I get to forever, just time is available, and it really doesn't even exist. But then at the same time, if we this is Stephen Pressfield, another one. He says procrastination is the most common manifestation of resistance because it
Yeah.
is the easiest to rationalize. We
Yes.
don't tell ourselves, I'm never going to write my symphony. Instead, we say, I'm going to write my symphony just going to start tomorrow.
Right. That's it exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's that is really interesting, right? Like time is infinite, so to speak, but it is so limited at the same time. And if you don't appreciate the time and the space that you occupy every day, if you take that for granted, that I feel like plants the seed for regret. And I think that what I've heard is that when you get older, the the worst thing, the worst feeling that any person before they, before they pass on to the next plane is regret. That's all they think, the worst thing is to think back and think, man, I regretted doing that. And I regretted not doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If we can continually be, if we can continually keep letting those things go daily, letting go of judgment against ourselves for not doing the things that we were supposed to do or doing things that we regret, that is actually going to keep us from moving forward. It's not actually helpful for us to keep judging ourselves and also judging other people. If you catch yourself judging other people, just know that you're judging yourself way
Yeah.
worse. And with time, the phrase that I like is I just have a sense of urgency. I have
Hmm.
a sense of urgency about wanting to accomplish something. I'm not rushing. I'm not, I have a sense of calmness about everything I'm doing, but I do have a sense of urgency that
Yeah.
I'm, and I want to be doing work that's meaningful. I want to be doing work that is greater than myself, that is helpful for others.
Yeah.
So that also helps me to have this sense of urgency. Like in the story of Hanuman and the story of the Ramayana, Hanuman knows that he's doing this work for Ram and for Sita. Ram is a word for God.
Hmm.
God came to earth as Rama, and he's doing this work for Rama. So whenever he's feeling fear, this is the work that I'm doing for Rama. I have to get over my fear and I have to have courage, and I know that I'm going to be successful. This fear that arises. I was going to read a passage. This is from a uh, translation retelling of the Ramayana
Hmm.
by Krishna Dharma. And this is just like a little example of Hanuman when he is on this mission. Uh, this is this is when Hanuman discovers his true power. Hanuman is a monkey that was cursed when he was a young monkey. He actually has infinite power. He can do anything. He can become as big as the universe, small as an atom. He can fly. He's all powerful, but he was cursed to forget his powers and to think that he was just a regular monkey until someone reminds him of his powers. And the bear Jambavan reminds Hanuman of his powers as they're searching for Sita, has been stolen by the demon king Ravana. A vulture, I believe it was Jatayu, had peered across the ocean. He had this supervision. He could see across the ocean, and he could see that Sita was in this city of Lanka. But they had to. There was no way to get there. They couldn't fly. They didn't have vehicles. Only Ravana has this flying hovercraft, and so there was no way to get her. So there, everyone is devastated. Like, how can we now we know where she is, but we can't even find her. We can't get there. And so Jambavan reminds Hanuman of his powers and says, "You can leap across the ocean." And he goes, just upon hearing that, he remembered his true power, that he could leap across the ocean. And that's a symbol a lot for us, that we actually are all powerful, that if we could truly know who we are beyond our fears, beyond all of the limitations of the mind, all of the things that keep us small, our ego, our worry about our body and about death and sickness and all of this. If we could overcome that, we could really realize our true power. And so he leaps across the ocean, and as he's leaping across the ocean, flying through the air, this is I think about this a lot. So Indra and the other gods watched Hanuman. They were astonished to see his power. Desiring to test him and see more of his prowess, they approach Sarasa, mother of the Nagas, serpents, mother of the snakes. They ask the snake goddess to assume the form of a Rakshashi, a demon. You can think a demon, a dragon, and a Sura. She assumed the form of the Rakshashi and stood before Hanuman. Indra said, "We want to see his power, as well as to further expand the fame of this great servant Rama. Let us see how he overcomes you, O Naga lady, for he will be greatly tested when he reaches Lanka." Sarasa went to the sea and suddenly rose up in front of Hanuman in the form of the vast, terrible Rakshashi. She boomed out to Hanuman, "The gods have ordained you to be my food, O jewel among monkeys. Quickly enter my mouth. Brahma has granted me a boon that no one can come before me and escape being eaten." Sarasa opened her cavernous mouth, which was set with rows of fierce teeth. Hanuman smiled and said to the Naga goddess, "I am on a mission to serve Rama, the Lord of creation. You should not impede me. If I must be eaten by you, then pray wait here. Once I have completed my duty, I shall return doubtlessly, and you may devour me as you please." I like that part. I'll read a little bit more, but that part is interesting. So if that is the case, if there's no way around it, if it is if you are correct and it is my fate to be devoured by you, then you wait here. I'm gonna complete this. No matter what happens, I'm going to complete this mission. So you wait here, I'll come back and you can eat me later. There's no way I'm not completing my mission. Another thing in this too, whenever Brahma has granted me a boon, when somebody says that Brahma has granted me a boon, then there is no way to revoke that boon in these stories. So she says, Brahma has granted me this boon that you will enter my mouth and no one can escape from being eaten. So he's like, okay. Rather than freaking out and being like, all is lost, this giant Naga serpent who has boons from the gods, who says that I must be devoured by her, he's completely unworried about it. He's staying super calm, and in his mind always he's chanting Rama, Rama, Rama. He's on this mission for Rama to save Sita. So he's not swayed by this. And this is what the gods are testing him. They're like, look at this great monkey, test him. Let's see. We wanted to have even greater stories that we can tell about Hanuman. So sometimes when you're really going after your dreams, it might not even be the demons. Like sometimes the gods are just throwing interesting things your way so that you can have a greater interview later. You can write a book.
Yeah.
You can have something interesting to say.
Yeah.
It might actually be, and it probably always is, your higher self is sending you these things. So
yeah,
as he's flying across this ocean, this giant Rakshashi Naga serpent woman says that you must fly into my mouth and be devoured. So Hanuman, after he says, I'll return and you can devour me then, the Naga replied that he would not be able to pass her, for it was such a boon given by Brahma. So she expanded her mouth even more as Hanuman came closer. Her jaws stretched for 8 miles, but Hanuman grew quickly to 16 miles. She then expanded her mouth to 20 miles, and Hanuman again exceeded that size with his body. As the Naga grew even further, Hanuman suddenly contracted himself down to the size of a thumb. Entering her mouth, he went inside her throat and quickly came out again. He returned to his normal side and says, I have honored Brahma's boon. Now let me pass and fulfill my mission. I wish you well.
Oh, did they animate this by any chance? Like, is there a way to watch like a graphic novel or an animation of these stories?
I haven't found any that like I particularly like. I'm like, wow, that's cool. Like,
Okay.
there's a lot of sort of old ones or like
Right. This
I
needs to
haven't
be
seen anything
redone,
super
like
cool. I don't know.
redone like Marvel quality, and get this out. Cause like, while you're even talking about it, like the imagery in my mind is just like, man, this would look so good on a big screen if Marvel put something like this together. But besides that, I love I kept thinking of, I have family members who have passed of cancer, and I know people who are fighting cancer right now. And in my when I how I paralleled it to my IRL is if someone if you get that diagnosis, if one of my family members got that diagnosis of cancer, you can be completely defeated by it, like like he's about to be eaten by this crazy serpent. It's kind of how cancer comes after a lot of people. You can be completely defeated by it and just go quietly, or you can say, well, come at me and take me, eventually you will, but not today. And I'm going to go finish what I'm doing right now. And that focus, and I continue to see people around me in my life that face these dire situations and circumstances, and they still go about their daily lives with the courage of a lion, and make sure that they have that singular focus, and nothing can deter them. And it makes me think of this story.
Hmm.
you know
It's so inspiring, makes you want to be like that. These
yeah
are like fantastical stories, but we can really relate it to if we stay calm. It's like I made this coin. If you stay calm, sweet, and happy, I keep it in my pocket.
yeah
Always the thing to do. Okay, this Naga serpent has arisen, is trying to eat me. Calm, sweet, happy. That's what you do. You stay
mm,
calm, you stay focused, you stay on your mission. You know that nothing can stop you from doing what
yeah
you're meant to be doing. And then either a new opportunity will arise that you jump on. Mighty forces come to your aid when you do that.
yeah
If you get scared and you lose your wits and you lose heart, you're going to miss the opportunity. You're not going to receive what's available. The mighty forces will not be able to come to your aid. So remember always when that is the thing to do, and the gods are pleased and they're cheering for you, like, wow, did you see that? That was amazing. And that's
yeah
what they want for us. Everything, that's what the unit. And now when I say they, it's just it's just really just all versions of yourself. This whole story is a story about what's going on inside here.
mm,
Like, the story is that,
yeah
yeah.
There's I'm not sure if you've watched the autobiography. I've read Gandhi's autobiography, but there's a movie that they did in the 80s of Gandhi's life, and I think Ben Kingsley played Gandhi, which I know that received a lot of flack because they should have actually had an Indian actor play Gandhi, but the way that they portrayed Gandhi, and when I read his autobiography, that human, that spirit felt otherworldly. He stood up against the British Empire. After when the British ruled India, you know, they were an independent country before the British kind of colonized all these different countries, and Gandhi was of the mindset that any foreign rule would be evil. Like everyone should deserve the right for self governance, and so he stood up against this empire, and here he is, this really skinny, small Indian man in a loincloth. And there's a part in that movie, and I know it's a bit Hollywood, but after reading his autobiography, I think it was a fair, tight. His will was, I think, captured in this statement where, they say, Gandhi, you're going up against the British Empire right now. They have an army of that's completely ruling this country. They could do anything. They have the police at their guard. They have all the politicians in their pocket. They will crush you. Literally, they will beat you and crush you. And they did that for, right? Not Gandhi was known for the non-violent resistance. And there's a line where someone questions him, like, how do you find the courage to do this and defy the British? And he says, because, non-cooperation um, with with uh, with an evil uh, rule is my right. And he said, and so what? So what? They will beat me, and they will write me terribly in the papers, and they may kill me, and then they'll have my broken body, not my obedience. And I just thought, wow, like talk about
Mm.
believing in a cause and saying you cannot take it. You whatever what you want from me the most, I will not give you. You can take
Mm-hmm.
everything else, but you will not have my obedience. I thought, man, that's incredible. And after you read his autobiography, you're just like, this man, like I'm sure he was very familiar with Hanuman and the Ramayana and all of the lessons and the stories and in the Ramayana. And I feel like when I think of Gandhi living that life, and he didn't have social media, he didn't have an internet, he didn't have he had a following in India, but he did it at a time where you had to act everything out because you couldn't get that word out. But the courage that he had, not just him, but all these great souls who've come before us, every single one of them talked about the great challenges that they faced in their life. And overcoming those challenges is what makes them great. You know, what do they say? Smooth seas don't make for skillful sailors. You don't you need those rough waters sometimes, and that story is what everyone ends up relating to, and then you give people the courage of your triumphs over those obstacles and challenges. And they also want to play the game. It's like your analogy of the video game. If you told me, Jay, man, I took me 4 days to get through Mario, and I died a whole bunch of times, but I still kind of got through it. But I love hearing that story. It's like, man, you got through that. You saved the princess. You got past Bowser. All right, Chris did it. I know I can do it because I'm stuck on level 6. I can't even get to level 7. But I just know if Chris got through it, at least we know it's possible. So I'm going to continue to stay at it.
Yeah, having these perspectives, having these great saints and people from history and these warriors in these epic journeys, stories, gives us the perspective to look at it just in the same way you said it. Okay, my friend did it. This is how he did it. I'm going to do it too. And that's so powerful. Just having that shift in awareness is going to be a game changer for all of us. And that's why I
Yeah.
want to keep talking about this. We're living in a video game. We're meant to be playing this video game. I've been doing this guided meditation with the group that I lead every Wednesday. Did one in Miami at a Moss Gallery a weekend ago. And it's been really fun of really over time building on this way of going into meditation and seeing it as a hero's journey. Imagining here we are in level 1, the physical reality, physical universe, dropping into level 2, leaving behind the physical, going from the world of the known into the unknown as a call to adventure. Heeding that call to adventure, we now are using, I give you a technique to concentrate on, to tune your mind to, so that you can be unwavering. But as you're on this journey, dragons will arise, the demons will show up, Naga serpent is there. But you use the technique of focus, concentration. That's what Hanuman is doing. He never lost sight of what his focus was. So in the meditation, we use a technique called Hong Sa. You're mentally chanting Hong on the inhalation, Sa on the exhalation, and you're feeling the breath coming and going from the spiritual eye. You keep focused on that. And in the meditation that we do, as that dragon arises and the mind chatter starts to come in, you pick up your sword of the concentration technique and you focus on that. And as you're doing that, the dragon is withering. Dragon is being destroyed by your focus and your concentration and your willpower. And as you keep focusing, and I give us a bell with 30 seconds where don't waver, don't be distracted. 30 seconds. It's like you're slashing the dragon for 30 seconds with your concentration. And then that dragon is destroyed. And what is on the other side of that dragon is your divine mother. You have been separated from your divine mother by this fear dragon. We become, and the divine mother is a symbol for the entire physical universe. We become afraid of life. We become afraid of the universe. We're supposed to be playing this video game, enjoying the wonders of this incredible movie that we're in, this avatar that we've selected. We're supposed to be playing it, going through all of it, facing the demons, facing the tragedies, facing the horrors, facing the beauty, and all of it. We're supposed to enjoy it. You go on Netflix and you pick horror movies to watch. We just do. Like, we like all of it. We're supposed to enjoy all of it, but fear has gotten in the way. So that dragon of fear has stood in the way between our loving connection with our divine mother. So once that dragon in the meditation dissolves, we take the power of that dragon. Now we fight against a strong fighter. Then now you have the power of that dragon. So you gain that, and then you gain a connection with your divine mother. And the divine mother, when she's in your presence and you're focusing fully on her, opening your heart, you feel peace, you feel love, you feel calm, you feel joy, you feel wisdom comes in, super conscious wisdom. You hear the sound of Om, you see light at the point between the eyebrows, and you just can be without thought. And after the meditation, after we're in that vibration, and then we share that feeling that we have, that connection with the divine mother, with our loved ones. We heal them in our minds, and then we share that with the rest of the universe. And then at the end of the meditation, what I was inspired to add is that now at the end of the meditation, now your heavenly father is there. You are a child of the emperor of the universe. Everything that is his is yours, and you can now demand a boon, sacred boon, or multiple boons. You'll receive what you ask for, so be wise in what you choose. And so I've been making it a practice of having people write down what it is that they're asking for, what it is that they're going after. And I recommended not making it a just say asking for more money or asking for physical things, because if you maybe you do ask for that money and it does show up, chances are you're just going to be back into that lack state again after a period of time, because you didn't change. You're just, your situation changed. So you're good for now. And then actually you forget about the thing that got you there. But if you ask for things that increase your ability, your closeness to God, if you're asking for ability, say, I want to be a great writer, I want to be a great musician, I personally would like to be better at time management. I'd like to be better at navigating with directions, whatever it is that you have like a hole in your game. After you get to that state of you've overcome the dragon, you've connected with the divine qualities, you are now in front of Brahma or God. Ask for what you want and know that you'll receive it.
So like it's unreal, Chris. And I know that you've shared with our community that you do weekly meditations, you do in person, and then we were moving towards doing virtual meditation. So, as we start to build up our community and get more and more people into it, they probably are coming, a lot of them are coming to find that inner peace, and then to be able to find the focus and that strength internally, to face some of these dragons, to get to a space where they have access to all of these incredible resources that come once you get past your dragon. So how do they do that? How can we do that? How can we give people the opportunity to have access to you like that?
Yeah, that's going to be one of the cool things about this community, is we'll be able to start adding more to it. In my mind, this is one of those things where I guess we'll just speak it into reality, that eventually I'll be doing live sessions for the community where we can gather together and practice these things.
Yeah.
Also doing recorded guided meditations for it that you can pop in and use it for a daily practice.
Yeah.
I'll be making one of these hero's journey meditations for the podcast here at some point as soon as I get the time to do it. And we'll just continue adding these things. I also have an idea that I'd love to do with my Ananda group in California and all over the world and in India. During the pandemic, during the lockdowns, we used to do a weekly, it was called the Warriors of Light.
Mm.
And every Thursday morning, everybody would hop on Zoom from all around the world, and they would have different teachers from different places speak for a little while. And then we would do together this Warrior of Light affirmation. And we would all imagine this light, like what I was talking about, healing the world. And I really believe that as more and more people are doing this, and you personally, as you're seeing the world being healed and you're seeing this light and you're feeling that all receptive hearts in the world are feeling more peace, more calmness, more
Yeah.
wisdom, more joy, that you're actually moving into a future that has more peace, more joy, more love, and you're looking for that in the world. And it's really a subjective experience, this life. It is what you choose. You choose to see things in a certain way. You choose fear or you choose love. It is
Yeah.
fully up to you. I'm sad to say it, but it is all up to you.
Yeah.
Everything that you experience is your own choice. I was going to read maybe to end it. I have some words from Yogananda that I think help with this. This is around fear, and so maybe be a good way to end it, and then we'll keep kind of exploring these topics through these things that I hope are beneficial for everybody, that you can put this all into practice.
Yeah.
So he says, and this is from a book I read from a lot here. This is How to Have Courage, Calmness, and Confidence from Paramahansa Yogananda.
Mm.
A mental indulgence in fear will create a subconscious fear habit. Then, when something upsetting to the regular routine occurs, subconscious fear habit will assert itself. Magnify the object of your fears and paralyze the will to fight fear faculty of the conscious mind. Man is made in the image of God and has all the powers and potentialities of God. Therefore, it is wrong for him to think the trials are greater than his divinity. Remember, no matter how great your trials, you are able to conquer them. God will not allow you to be tempted or tried beyond your strength. Fear should not produce mental inertia, paralysis, or despondency. Instead, it should spur you on to calm, cautious activity, avoiding equally rashness and timidity. Uproot fear from within by forceful concentration on courage and by shifting your consciousness to the absolute peace within. Associate with healthy and prosperous people who do not fear sickness or failure. Om.
Everyone's got to get a copy of that book. I feel like there's so many great lessons, just even to get you through the day. Sometimes just hearing some thoughts and words first thing in the morning may just kind of change the way that you perceive the rest of your day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they act like seeds in your mind. You hear it, and later in the day, it's like, oh, I think I know what that means now. I think I know. And when you get a chance to use it, it just opens it. That plant grows and grows, and it becomes more and more valuable. And you learn how to put it into practice.
Yeah.
Reminds me so much of the Hanuman stories. No matter how great your trials are, you are able to conquer them. Remember that. The story of Hanuman, it's fantastic and amazing and beautiful and colorful so that we remember it. So we read the story, and that story gets passed through time for thousands of years and gets retold and gets turned into all kinds of different things. And we're making artwork and we're talking about it. But the point is that remember, no matter how great your trials are, you are able to conquer them. You are. It is meant for you. It's not meant to take you out. It's not meant to destroy you. Stay, what does he say? It should spur you on to calm, cautious activity, avoiding equally rashness or timidity. So it's not saying be reckless and rash, but you should get into a calm state of mind, Jedi shit, like get
Yeah.
into a calm state of mind, focus on, remember your objective, remember who you are and what you're doing. And then you should abolish timidity. Don't be timid. If Hanuman in that time, like he just reverted back to, I'm just a monkey, what can I do? What am I doing here? This is too hard. Even the gods are against me. And he just turned back into a monkey and dropped into the ocean and drowned. Like that's what we want to do. That's what we do.
Yeah.
But well, if we realize that nothing is too big, then something will show up. It is just like the movie. We watch these movies and like, oh, that would never happen, or how does the hero always get through all these seeming, there's bullets flying and they never get hit. It is because they're on their mission. They're meant to be doing it. So those bullets are dodging away from them.
Like the Matrix, we just get out of the
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. This life is so much less solid than we think.
Yeah. And I think if you do ever feel alone and you feel like you can't get through it, if you're part of the Seekers of the Eternal Discord or community, even if you're not and you're thinking about it, we encourage you to join us and to voice it. Ask for help. Just say what you're struggling with. I promise you, you're going to find other people that are also going down this road. So you have somebody, you can have company, and or they've already been down this road and they've made it to the other side and they're still waiting with a hand ready to help. So, we're here for you. You're not alone. No man is an island. And that's kind of why we built this project. We want you guys to feel like you're a part of something that makes you feel like whatever you're going through, you don't have to go through it on your own. So we welcome you to Seekers of the Eternal. And we want to see you guys prosper and shine and be that light that Chris talked about right in the beginning of this podcast, because we believe the world needs you.
Yeah, I second that. And if you've never been on Discord, watch some just tutorial videos about Discord. It doesn't take long it's not hard. You're smart. You can figure it out. It really is. It looks crazy. Like when I first got into signed up for an account, like what is
I remember.
know that it isn't that hard to use.
Yeah.
We do have, this is real. We have this, you can open a support ticket and ask any questions. And we have moderators around the clock that are super helpful and really happy to help you.
100%.
So if you want to know something about it or you want to know how it works, there's no stupid questions. We just want you to be a part of it. So join our Discord and you have access to me. Like I'm on there in the mornings and I like to send links about things that I'm thinking about or getting into, and people exchange conversations and we all do that. And then on Thursdays, I'm usually there on Thursdays at 8 for an hour and just talking. So it's a great way if you want to have more access to me, or you want to ask me questions, or you want to share something with me or the group. That I encourage you to do it. Just do a little bit of work to figure it out. It's not that hard, really.
Yeah. Wonderful. Chris, it is always a pleasure and an education. And I'm so grateful that I get to spend this time with you.
Yeah, thank you, Jay. And thanks everybody for listening.
Thanks
we'll
for tuning
catch
in.
you all next time. Blessings of joy and peace and courage to you.